All right. Hi, I'm Dara Thome, thank you for joining the project governance session. I've worked with Elire for just about 2.5 years. I think this month will be, later this month will be the half year point. And before Elire, I worked as a global treasury professional for about 15 years. Starting with our agenda, we're going to go over Lear introduction and industry experiences and our services, project governance overview, the value of project governance, the pillars of project governance, participants and roles, framework, best practices, roadblocks, key takeaways, and as Jordan mentioned, any questions, and hopefully I can answer those. So Elire was established in 2005 based on our founding partners' expertise in treasury. Since then, we have supported over 250 plus treasury workstation implementations and advisory products. Our goal is to be a trusted advisor to our clients, supporting the people, processes, and systems that make their businesses successful. While Lear started in Treasury, we have since expanded to 6 centers of excellence. That would be Oracle Cloud, PeopleSoft, Treasury Advisory Service, managed services, and our new EPM and analytical services with our acquisition of Stratalized Solutions. As mentioned, we've supported over 250 plus treasury management workstation implementations and advisory projects. Our consultants provide expert design advisory to optimize best treasury practices. Here are some of our valued clients. We're very proud of the work that we've done to earn these clients' trust and their continued business. All right, here we go. So project governance establishes processes that have a major impact, even when the processes seem small or insignificant. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. It needs to be customized to your precise needs and requirements. It's the framework that supports and manages the correct course for your project. It defines roles, responsibilities, and accountability. It directs the decision-making process for your project while adding control by helping your project run smoothly, timely, and within budget. Next, we'll go over the value of project governance. So the value of project governance is significant since it helps attain the project's goals in a structured way that keeps all project members accountable for the work. The value of using a governance model in project management includes the following: developing oh my gosh, I had issues all the time with this. Developing the validity of estimates. I should have changed that word out and I just didn't. If a project includes estimates for resources or costs, using a governance model can improve the accuracy of those estimates and reduce spending. Budgets and timelines. The governance model helps project managers to guarantee that projects finish on time and on budget. It also allows different team members to work together to attain everyone's goal, really. Issue and risk management. The project governance framework provides carefully detailed guidelines on who is affected by an issue and if there are any risks, and the way to counter the issue and risks as they arise. Communication. Efficient governance assures that clear communication is achievable among all project team members and across different departments. And keeping personnel responsible. Governance makes it clear who is assigned to each task on your project. If a team member doesn't complete a task on time, you know who to contact for an update. Do we have a poll question?
Thank you, Dara. Yeah, we're going to get our first poll question launched here. So we kind of want to know, do your projects currently run within budget and on time? Always, maybe you have a PMO or a really efficient project management process, needs improvement, which I feel like most of us are probably in, maybe not often, or never. We got problems. Just a quick reminder, all of our polls today, if you respond, are entered in for that Starbucks gift card drawing. As well as, again, it lets Dara know what group we have in the room, in the virtual room here today. We're going to give everyone just about another 5 seconds, and then we will share the results. Okay, we're going to close it out. So it looks like, and not too surprising here, predominantly everyone said needs some improvement, with a smattering of other people across, not often, or maybe always or never. So a little bit across the board, but predominantly it looks like we all could use a little improvement for running our projects on time and on budget. Back to you, Dara.
Thank you. So project governance pillars, there's generally about 3 pillars of governance. So information, project needs open communication with clear and consistent real-time information sharing, be it meetings, reportings, picking up the phone, which I know many people don't do much anymore, etc. Projects suffer if there isn't a clear and concise information exchange. Structure. The structure of the project governance could include the whole company as well as clients and customers. It's knowing the roles and responsibilities of your stakeholders, which is anyone who has a stake in the project. They can often be your team members or team leads, executives, clients, customers, technical team, and the product developers. The people make up each role of the project and are accountable for upholding their responsibilities. This includes being present and engaging in project meetings and communicating with all team members of the project. Selecting the right people for your project is imperative to guarantee the execution of your project and stay within your timeline. So all 3 pillars of a good project governance must operate in tandem in order to work effectively. High-level decisions must be clearly communicated from the stakeholders to the project managers, who then relate that information to those team members who are working on the tasks that are affected by those decisions. If part of the structure, people, or information is broken, then project governance fails. Participants and roles. So project stakeholders are generally not involved in the daily operations of the project. Usually they're going to be your senior executives or representatives from different departments who must be kept informed of any risks, any issues, and inform them either with meetings, emails, reporting, however you have that set up for your project. They could be members of the board of directors, investors, or part of your organization's executive team. Project managers are responsible for leading, managing, and closing the project resources and deliverables. They communicate, report, and document the project progress. Their responsibilities include planning, organizing, coordinating, and overseeing assigned tasks. They execute the project plan based on the objectives, expectations, and satisfaction set by the project stakeholders and/or your steering committee. Team members, they are responsible for following the project plan, schedule, budget, and procedures for completing the work assigned to them by the project manager. They also collaborate and share information and knowledge with each other. That way it just helps push the project along generally as you're talking to different team members. I know we all do this throughout the day, weeks, whatever. It's just nice to be able to collaborate, maybe bounce different things off of each other. So it's definitely important. They also, team members also identify and report any risks, issues, or changes that affect the project. The project team is accountable for the project outcome and really the quality of what's happening. They're kind of the people who do all the work. And then you have your end users. They're going to be the people who use the end product, whatever your project is, and or benefit from the project deliverables. They're responsible for providing input and feedback to the project team. They participate in testing, training, and the acceptance of the project outcomes and measure the impact of the value of the project. And I know for me, as I'm writing this, and kind of making my notes, I do it based on what we do here at Elire and what I do as a project manager. So it just, obviously most things you have to test, want testing plans, you want to be able to provide the, whatever your project is, you want it to succeed and you want it. So if you have testing, like what we do, so with Kariba, and we set up our clients and they use the Treasury Management System, and we're constantly, testing. They ask for a change, we get everything set up. It has to be tested to ensure that everything is correct. So it's kind of all around and encompassing. It's, you need every person participating. You need to know the roles to be able to have a successful project. We have another
Thank you,
poll question.
Dara. Okay, our next question. So how do you manage your projects? Do you manage them manually with Excel or Word? Maybe slightly automated with a tool like Smartsheet, Basecamp, Teams, Trello, or NA. Maybe you don't run projects, but you're looking to or just want to improve your general project management acumen. Again, we will give everybody a couple seconds to answer and then share with the group. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close it out here. Okay, so it looks like about half of our attendees are tracking manually with Excel or Word, with 38% utilizing a project management tool, and another 8% who maybe don't currently manage any projects. Back to you, Dara.
Thanks, Jordan. All right, project governance framework. Don't know if you can all see all the different things that I have here. Anyway, so access and plan, you want to initiate your project by assessing and planning. You want to know what your objectives and priorities are for your project. Obviously, you need to get your approvals and funding in place. You want to get your resources and what methods and tools that you're going to use to implement and finalize your project, and everything in between. Be it if it's going to be your Excel spreadsheets, your Word documents, just everything has to be in place, as you know, just even to start off a project. Next, you want to create roles and responsibilities for everyone on your project. Who are your stakeholders? What about team members and end users? And what are their tasks? And who's managing the progress throughout the whole entire project? Not everyone has a project manager. The last company that I came from, we didn't, so someone was always just kind of assigned a project, and you just saw it through and you did all the follow-ups and emails, and you kind of kept notes. We did everything in Excel as well. Nowadays, I started using Smartsheet, which is fantastic. You can list everything. It's good or bad. It'll send you notifications. It'll also send notifications to your team members or whomever is on the project of timelines, and if something's coming up, something needs to get updated. So it's a nice little change versus Excel and or Word, or just kind of keeping something to yourself, whatever it may be. So I like and enjoy using Smartsheet. It definitely was a game changer. Going further, you want to set project parameters. So once you have your plan in place with the team members, stakeholders, and your end users, you want to start allocating time in your project and for the plan for everyone involved, and including yourself. I say myself because I'm the project manager on a lot of these. Whoever's taken on that role, it's sometimes hard to keep time for yourself as you're going through and notifying people and making the updates and doing all the meetings and getting everything together. It's sometimes taking the time just to get your stuff that you need to do to keep the project going. Sometimes we forget to take time for ourselves. with setting parameters, you want to create your schedules, set your expectations with timelines and due dates of each person's tasks. And one thing that I didn't do at the beginning of doing some projects was asking about backups. It's really easy when we're sending out emails and you get that notification back and it says, oh, I'm going to be out. Please contact so-and-so. Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't, but if you're not sending out an email or you're not getting any type of response back, it's always nice to get someone else who you can contact, either if you need to, someone's gone, or if you need to escalate an issue or a situation. Right now, I'm running into that. And as nice as possible, sending out an email, just asking for an update that really is needed to help a project kind of finalize. We're at the very end and an issue arose, and the person I'm reaching out to, I hope everything's okay. And that's kind of how I paraphrase, my emails, hope you're doing well, hope everything's okay. And then is there anyone else I can contact? So having that upfront definitely helps. And it's not about always there being an issue. It's about, if someone goes on vacation or, someone happens to leave the company, it's just being able to have someone else to contact if you need to. Because if you are the project manager, that falls on you. You need to keep this moving along, so you need that information. Communication, develop communication plans for project updates all throughout the project lifeline. Either set up weekly meetings with team members to review tasks, maybe monthly meetings for your stakeholders and your executive team, just so they can stay on top of everything that's going on. Previously I mentioned that they usually are the ones that are getting the project going, maybe making some changes, making sure everything is looking good. And they sometimes like to throw a wrench in and say, hey, we need to make this change. And then you need to go ahead and plan accordingly. So we have weekly meetings with our clients, and I like to go, again, I use Smart Sheets, and we go over everything that's in their project from start to finish. I mean, obviously, if things are completed, I'll take those off or hide them from view. But every single week, I'm updating every task. They know right away who's assigned to each task. I put notes on everything of where we're at, what's being worked on. Another good thing with Smartsheet is you can put down, even if it's a client that a task is assigned to. So it's just, for me, it's a nice thing to use. I'm not trying to promote anything in that essence, but it's really helped me grow as a project manager. Going over that with the clients, they also like to know what's going to be upcoming. And so I have that listed as well, with dates and timelines. And we'll just, keep reiterating, different things that are coming up. So really with Smart Sheets, I like it. It could be your Excel, it could be whatever that you're doing. I end up sending the report every single week. I send it to my executive team, our clients, really anyone who's working on the project. It helps to keep them up to date. I'm going to be honest though, a lot of times I get questions even after I send that out of, hey, can you give me an update on this? And, a lot of times to myself, I think, I just sent you that report, but okay, let me go ahead and put in an email, or let's go jump on a call, because it's just kind of how it is, where people don't always want to delve into a report and try to figure out where they're at. Implementation. So in order to implement your project and go live, you need testing plans in place to work out any issues or risks that may arise. And that's really why you do testing, right? You want to make sure that everything is going to work perfectly at the end, or as perfectly as it can. Let me see, your end users are responsible for testing, evaluating, and giving their feedback to push your project to the final phase of implementation. Improve, that it can always happen, right? I mean, obviously with a project, when you're done with it at the end, you kind of you kind of look back and think, okay, what didn't work? You know, you kind of assess what worked, what didn't work, you adapt and adjust to ensure that you have the effective governance plans in place for future projects of all scopes, shapes, and sizes. You know, sometimes it's funny as I'm putting projects together for our clients, I think to myself, like, wow, I feel like I should put some projects together for my personal life as well, just, you know, projects on the house, projects, whatever it is, children, whatever, but I tend to get offline. I don't know about you guys, but I tend to get offline and then I don't want to go back online and definitely not do that. That's what my calendar is for. Anyway, best practices. All right, so participation from involved parties. You want to make sure everyone involved in the project is on the same page. It will go a long way to ensure that a project is completed successfully. Truly, it's the only way that good governance can be achieved. All team members need to be involved fully, whether directly or indirectly. Participation in project governance should be conducted in an organized and informed manner to be beneficial for everyone. Again, that's why I like using what I use, because it really, really keeps track. It kind of going on to the next overview, it really keeps people honest and it's very transparent on if anything's falling behind, if anyone's ahead of the game, you know, sometimes there's things you can do in advance. So going on to honesty and transparency, good governance is founded on implementing the decisions made by stakeholders and senior executives, while taking into account the rules and regulations that are put in place for your organization. A good governance structure should ensure that information is freely and openly accessible, especially to those who are going to be impacted either negatively or positively by the decisions that have been made. Collaboration, can touch base on this already. Everyone on the project should be made to feel included and want to be included, and that their contribution matters and plays a big role in the success of the project. Good project governance structure should seek to offer all the participants opportunities to contribute to your project. Sometimes I know that's a little hard, especially when maybe you have someone who wants to take extra time to go over the same thing multiple times. It's, you know, you just have to, maybe they're not understanding it, maybe you're not explaining yourself, whatever it could be, you just always want to be inclusive, so it's a nice friendly environment. Accountability. A good project governance structure is accountable to all the involved stakeholders. The scope of the accountability levels may differ depending on whether decisions taken are external or internal to the organization. Effectiveness and efficiency. Project governance structure can be said to be good or bad after examining the end results. Once the end goal and requirements have been met, you can then conclude that the governance methods were effective or not effective. Efficiency will only be realized if the team follows all procedures that are put in place. Roadblocks. So we know the importance of project governance. If you didn't, hopefully you know a little bit better now. Some early warning signs and potential roadblocks are listed here. Missed deadlines or extensions, they can happen. You know, sometimes people go on vacation, people get sick, whatever the reason is. But you really want to try to rummy them, see them, pardon me, before they get out of control, because they can and or will change your timeline and could definitely affect your budget, right? The more you have to push out extensions or reasoning why missing deadlines, generally, you know, maybe a week, maybe two, you have built into your project. Generally, you know, after that, you may run into some issues. Incomplete or inaccurate data as a project manager, unless if you are in every meeting that's being held, especially if you're working with different departments. If you're not involved in every single meeting, call, email not included, it's very easy to get incomplete or inaccurate data. Really want to just find out what are the causes, and are there going to be issues and or risks that are going to be linked to why you're getting incomplete or inaccurate data. Visibility, kind of all around spoke about that. Excuse me. Everyone on your project should have visibility to the progress of the project, be it meetings, emails, reporting, whatever it's gonna take. Visibility is going to, or limited visibility really can hinder your project moving forward. If people don't stay on top or don't know, even if they write down a list of everything they have to do, or they were given a list, whatever it is, if they don't know that, maybe the person next to them is 5 steps ahead of them. If they don't know what everyone else is doing, sometimes that can hinder a project as well. You don't want anyone to have any resentment's not the word I'm looking for, but just kind of feeling left out, not knowing. So it just really it helps to avoid potential risks and delays. Lack of communication, kind of touch base on this. To me, it's a big warning sign. What's happening and why. I would suggest, if you're not getting any communication, kind of like my story that I mentioned about having additional contacts and backups, reach out to the party. Sometimes a phone call is what it takes. If they're not answering an email, you just want to see what's happening. In my last job, lack of communication or no communication at all. Sometimes what I found was that what was happening is the person eventually left. So if I was working with a bank, let's say, and I was, working on a project and everything was moving really well and on time, and then all of a sudden it was kind of like you were they like ghosted me, for lack of a better word. And truly, it seemed to be every time that happened, that person was leaving the company and, going someplace else or for whatever reason. So a lot of times, again, for me, I think that's a big warning sign. And maybe it could be that they just don't truly understand their tasks or what they're supposed to do. Kind of all goes together though. You'll see I have some more roadblocks and warning signs in the next screen as well. All these kind of go together, but lack of communication really scares me. Scope creep. No one likes a creep. Anyway, this is continuous or uncontrolled growth in a project scope and can happen at any point after the project begins. It can occur when the scope of a project is not properly defined, documented, or controlled. I'm going to be honest here, it can happen anytime. We work with clients that in the beginning, when you're going through and listening to their needs and what they think that they want, and a lot of times it's, oh, you know what, we're not going to go ahead and let's say add a bank. And then all of a sudden it's like, you know what, we really should, or we just opened up another, bank, or we need this, whatever it is, something that sounds so simple can just blow up your project plan. It's something that you need to be aware of and just always stay on top of it. See what happens. Try, depending on the way that, it sounds when it first comes off is you just just stop it. But sometimes you can't. And so you just have to adjust, you adjust your project plan. Maybe it pushes on a timeline, maybe you have to adjust your budget, but that just seems to happen even with the best laid out project plan. Some more roadblocks, changes in tasks and roles. Going back to the bank, when people leave, they could be leaving, or people even internally, they could move up, it's a change, right? So if this happens, you need to just jump on it as soon as you can, because it could take a month, it could take longer, you know, depending if they have someone in, if like, say someone leaves. If they don't have anyone in line that could take that place, it could be a month, it could be 2 months. And then one thing that's happening to us is with a client is someone new just started. And the person that was previously trained kind of took that knowledge with them, and there wasn't a lot of notes that they left. So now we're going to retrain this person, which is totally fine, but that definitely will hold up your project and your project plan. Canceling meetings or not showing up, you know, like key people not showing up. That can happen, it does happen, people are on vacations, but if it's something that is continuously happening, either with your internal team member or a client, you know, time is money and it can easily push your timeline out. It just doesn't, like, try to corral that person back in, find out why. I mean, obviously everyone has personal lives and that's aside, but if they're just not joining because they don't think it's as important, you need to try to rein them back in and, you know, figure out what's going on and get that going again. You know, when you cancel a meeting or you're not joining, I mean, meetings are set up for a reason, as we all know, sometimes too many meetings, but they're still they're there for a reason. It's usually so everyone can get onto the same page and discuss the project and any open tasks or issues or risks, anything like that. Neglecting to update your project plan. Everyone gets busy, you know, as project manager, sometimes I'm working on other tasks. Sometimes it's with different clients. And sometimes we actually get to go on vacation. I know not all the time, but sometimes we're allowed to. So just, you know, documentation always needs to be updated. If you're getting the information from other people, keep pestering them if they're not answering, if they're not joining meetings. It's, you know, just let them know that truly this comes back down to having the project move in the direction and time that's needed. Also to stay on budget. Human error, obviously we all make mistakes, it can happen, and it is why I always like to say that projects and project governance are always a continuous learning culture. Timeline and budget not accounting from all of these, really, like scope creep to changing in roles or any number of other roadblocks. Just remember to check your budget and timeline and adjust if possible and if necessary. Good one is scope creep. If people are asking for additional stuff, always remember to stop, take another look at your timeline and budget. If you need to add more time, more budget, then make sure you do that, but get that done as the project is moving on, because you don't want to get to the end and then say, oh, hey, by the way, you know, we need to add this. And then it doesn't turn out well. Right, another poll question.
Thank you, Dara. So we have our third and final poll question for this session. We want to know, do your projects have a practical escalation process so the right person can make the right decision when they need to? Yes, no, or maybe what's an escalation process? And we'll give everyone a few seconds to answer here. As we get into the last section of this presentation, again, the CTP exam link will be dropped in the chat here shortly, as well as the registration links for our last two sessions. And I know we've gotten a couple questions around CTP credits. Of our 3 p.m. sessions, the working capital expanded session is eligible for CTP credits, and our other session, bank connectivity, is not. So if you're wondering which one and you were here for CTP credits, join that working capital session. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close out this poll and share our results. So it looks like predominantly our attendees today do have an escalation process in place, which is great. However, still about 30% of attendees who either don't have a process or are really unsure of what that is. Dara, any insights there?
Just, it's something you need to figure out either with, your executive team, your stakeholders, you need to figure out, because that has kind of bitten me a couple times where you just are going along, everything seems good, and it goes awry because there's no escalation. You need to have one in place. You need to have the people in place to make sure that it can keep going. Again, it can really hold up. There's other people who are going to be working on your project, but it can hold up when it's a piece. No matter what, it's going to be a piece of your project. So try to do that, because like I said, I did into the beginning of many projects, and then it comes back and kind of bites you, especially when you're really trying to finish it up and stay within that timeline. Thanks, Jordan. Right, some key takeaways. Have clear business objectives. So you want to ensure that you offer enough information in the objectives to facilitate the management team to make right decisions. Decisions should be properly documented and communicated clearly. Defining roles and responsibilities for everyone working on the project. Obviously, it's kind of hard not to move forward in a project if you don't have that. But sometimes it could be pretty minute tasks. I hate saying that, but it is where, you just don't assign it to anyone because you're like, oh, it's going to be easy, or, oh, so-and-so is going to take care of it. They're not. A lot of times when you're on a project, if it isn't 100% listed, people aren't just going to raise their hand and take it on. I mean, maybe some will, but generally people have not just one project, not one thing that they're working on. So it's better to define everything that way. Let's see, so defining roles and responsibilities, it's really try to have well-experienced and qualified people in those roles. I know that doesn't always happen, or someone's new. I don't want to say that they're not qualified. But you just want to have the best people on your project. It's truly going to help you push this along and finish. As you're conducting project reviews, the team you can always, and we've done this, maybe you can outsource or seek independent support if you notice that you have that need, or if there's a gap as you're assigning roles. Documentation, create a document. Again, I like using smart sheets. Whatever you use is going to be fine. You just want to make sure that it outlines, for everyone involved, all their tasks, and make sure that you set times, set up meetings, because truly, again, I know we all love those, but that really kind of, even if you're not on camera, just having a meeting and listening to someone, you can maybe get a better understanding of what's going on. Also, if you are a project manager and you need to document and keep everything up to date, it helps. Also, take notes. Have someone take notes, record whatever you can. And once you're done, you want to make sure that you distribute those meeting minutes. Let's see, project governance entails a culture of continuous learning. So from perfect projects or timeline delays with project governance, you're always learning and adapting. It's just something that you'd like to see, and there are some that just truly from start to finish, you're like, wow, that was fantastic. And you're like, let's go ahead and get that other one started, and then it just derails. And sometimes there's nothing you can do, even with the perfect project plan, perfect governance in place. But you just adapt. Your stakeholders, and sometimes these are the people that might be the ones that aren't joining those meetings, but they should really be involved in all the processes and trust that the project team is going to deliver whatever your plan is. It's crucial that the projects are conducted in an accurate and effective manner, because it will be tied to the financial governance and even the entire organization risk management. Effective governance is about making good decisions and every step of the way. Everyone has a role to play, from project owners, stakeholders, steering committees to the project manager. By building a strong foundation with the right structure, people, information sharing in place, you can ensure that projects align with your organization and good decisions are made. That is all that I have. So if anyone
Awesome.
has any questions or answers, thanks, Jordan.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you were talking about note taking. For those of you whose organizations are on Microsoft 365, I know Elire utilizes Copilot to do some AI note taking for you and action item summarization, which we have found to be super productive, at least for our marketing department. A couple quick reminders
Thanks.
before we wrap up. I know I just put a ton in the chat, but the link for our next two sessions are in the chat, as well as the link for our CTP exam for this session. Again, a quick reminder that you do need to fill that out and get a passing score of 80% or above in order to get your CTP research credit for 1.2 credits. Those certs will be sent out early next week, just to give everyone time to complete their certs and take the test if they need to. We do have our Starbucks gift cards winners in the chat as well. So congrats to those 5, and those emails have been sent out with your gift cards. A couple final reminders here too. Please be sure to follow us on our YouTube channel, as well as engage with the hashtag ETE2024 on LinkedIn. We are having some larger drawings for Amazon gift cards and Elire swag throughout the event and after the event wraps up. With that, I want to thank Dara for her time today. We'll go ahead and leave the webcast open for just a minute or two in case there's any final questions, and so y'all can get that link. Otherwise, hopefully we will see you at our next 2 sessions. Thank you, Dara.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.